Good afternoon. I'm Siriothrax from Steel Jaguar Gaming, and today I'll be casting a match between the Swords of Kentares and the Midnight Suns. My goal will be to break down the movement and decision-making that go on during a match. The game we'll be watching is for RHoD or Die. It's the first drop in a best-of-5 series, and it's done at a 620-ton drop weight. Although normally RHoD or Die is done on Assault mode, this drop will be done on Conquest, as the teams were having difficulty syncing their matches. This match will also be done with full Conquest rules, capping allowed, as opposed to turning it into a team deathmatch. Alright, let's go ahead and get this match started. We'll be watching from the perspective of Imminent in a Cataphract 3D. Swords of Kentares has opted to bring 5 Cataphracts, 2 Centurions, and 5 Lights, 4 Jenners, 1 Spider for ECM. This gives them a lot of range projection in the form of the Cataphracts. However, those Cataphracts don't have a lot of brawl potential, so they brought 2 Centurions to back them up and act as cannon fodder. In order to offset the slowness of the main group, the 5 Lights give them a lot of mobility, going at 150 kilometers an hour. That's going to be very important in this game mode, as when you get behind on cap points, you're forced into making moves that you might not want to make, and getting aggressive into an opponent's superior defensive position. What we're seeing from Swords of Kentares is their Lights headed straight for the center to cap Theta, which allows their Cataphracts and Centurions to get up a defensive position in the center. From there, if the enemy wants to make movements around the map, they'll either have to go through the fire of the Cataphracts, or swing very wide and take a longer amount of time to do it. The Centurions are pretty much acting as sheepdogs, and riding herd on this Cataphract pack. As you can see, the 5 Lights cap Theta extremely fast, and they start heading over the Epsilon as it's a safer point to cap from their spawn side. They now know that there are enemy Lights on Kappa, and judging by the speed of the cap, there can't be more than 3 or 4 of them. So the SWK is aware that they have the upper hand if it comes to a light fight. I'm now going to give some of their in-game comms to give you an idea of how things are unfolding.
Should back cap him?
I'm debating, but we gotta get a sight on their guys.
Yeah, we need to not get snuck up on.
Seeing 2 mediums heading towards Epsilon 3. They're in E8. They're separated from all their lights. We should just push on
E8.
Epsilon.
How many?
Oh,
They're all
team.
over there.
E8.
Alright guys, we're gonna shift over towards E6.
Pushing up.
We're just gonna trap them down in FB.
So what the Swords of Kentares have seen is that the main enemy force is over on the right, directly behind the crystals on the screen right now. They are trying to move their full team to get all of the Lights, all of the heavies, all of the mediums in on the enemy team while they're outnumbered and their Lights are split off. The enemy team probably doesn't know that they're coming, as their Lights were stuck over on the left side. At the same time, the Swords of Kentares have split 1 or 2 Lights just to cover their backfield and keep an eye on where the enemy Lights are going. And they see that the enemy Lights are going for the Kentares spawn to try and backcap them. The maneuver that Swords of Kentares pulls catches some of the Midnight Suns down in the gully and just starts ripping them apart, basically. At the same time, the Midnight Suns have guys trapped up top, but the cover up there isn't very good to shoot down into where the Kentares fracs are holding. Overall, I think that the Midnight Suns lose 2 or 3 mechs here and don't get much in return. However, what they do achieve is a clear lead on the cap points, as they'll be up 3-1, and they have the enemy force very far away from any safe cap area. So if I was the Midnight Suns, what I would need to do here is salvage what I can out of the main force, make sure your Lights don't get caught, and keep them rolling around trying to cap points, because you're already down on mechs. If it comes to a main engagement, you haven't done enough to actually win that. Kentares realizes that they probably have this game in the bag if it comes down to a fight, now that they've got that upper hand. So they're sending their Lights out to find and kill the enemy Lights. However, the Midnight Suns decide that they want to press the issue, and they end up coming down here onto Epsilon, and trying to brawl it out. However, the Kintara's Centurions get in there and just do their job as meat shields, grabbing all the attention, soaking the damage, which gives the cracks, especially imminent here, very good shots that they can just take without any sort of pressure. At this point, as you see on the minimap, the Kintara's lights have managed to find the Midnight Sun's lights, and they're engaging with them. And with that occurring, this is pretty much a wrap-up for Kintara's. And just because they can, they take Epsilon to make sure that they don't, by some freak accident, lose on points. So, in summary, what went right and what went wrong for each team? For Kintara's, they did a very good job of seizing the middle, taking the initiative, and gaining map control. They had good scouting on both sides, they had ideas of where all enemy mechs were at all times, and that allowed them to react decisively when they saw an opportunity. On the other hand, for Midnight Suns, their scouting intel didn't tell them that the enemy attack was coming. Their mechs were caught a little split in bad terrain. Excuse me. And overall, they pressed the issue when they should have backed off and maneuvered. It's in a game such as this where every point of damage is permanent, there's no respawn, no regen, you can't afford to take that early damage because it just snowballs. And from there, you're on the losing ground. Alright, thanks everyone, and I will be casting more matches very soon, I hope.